Hi Sanika.
Hi Urvashi. Welcome listeners to another episode of Tech and Tots. Today we are going to talk about, drumroll, AI and kids, specifically Gen AI.
And when we say generative, we mean AI that is designed to create new things. So not just follow commands or analyze data, but actually generate content. Think tools like ChatGPT or Gemini.
Such a fun topic. I mean, AI just seems to be everywhere right now. I feel like I see a mention of it in every other social media post.
It really does feel that way. And it's quickly moving beyond just tech news. We are starting to see it pop up in tools and conversations that touch our daily lives, including, yes, life with our kids and our roles as parents.
Yeah. Using ChatGPT for parenting feels like a huge and sometimes overwhelming topic. So many different use cases. How do we as parents use it? How do kids use it to help with learning, homework, or other creative stuff? It's far too much to unpack in just one single conversation. So we will do several episodes on the topics of AI and parenting.
And for today's episode, we want to focus on Gen AI as a parenting aid. Again, Gen AI, think ChatGPT and Gemini. We're looking at how parents can use these tools in various ways. So, for example, for generating stories, assisting kids with questions, or using AI tools for parenting research.
Yeah. So how do we decide if Gen AI is the right tool for something? I realized I was subconsciously doing this kind of mental calculation, weighing the pros and cons based on the use case. For example, whether to use ChatGPT for creating stories is very different from deciding whether to use it to diagnose my kid's symptoms. So we realized parents need a simple, clear way to think through these decisions consistently.
And to evaluate all these different use cases for parents, we've come up with a 4-point checklist. So first we want to figure out how effective the tool is in serving our purpose. For example, is it a good storyteller?
Yeah.
And with that, secondly, we should consider the cost. And we don't mean just the financial cost of the tool. Think of the time and energy you spend on it as well. Overall, the ROI.
Yeah. Then third is considering any potential negative impact on the kids' development. So think about impacts on their learning, creativity, emotional development. And fourth, of course, is safety. So think data privacy or other security risks. So let's use this framework and dive deeper into evaluating Gen AI as a parenting aid.
Let's start by talking about using ChatGPT for storytelling.
Yeah.
I mean, telling my toddler stories is a big part of my life. On our first checklist point on how effective is ChatGPT, I'll tell you, I still remember the first time I asked it to create a story for my kid. ChatGPT was so good at personalization. It used her name, made her the main character, and told this adorable little adventure in simple toddler-friendly language. And the cool thing is it remembered context, and used things like our pet comet's name, her interest in astronauts. It was like a storybook had been written just for her.
Man, that is so cool. For us, it's been the sheer variety of ideas it can come up with. You know how my kids have been obsessed with airplanes forever, right?
I remember you telling me you guys go to the airport just for a fun outing.
Yeah, you know it. So, they have been requesting stories about themselves solving detective mysteries while traveling on airplanes. So, I ran out of ideas after creating a few of these. Enter ChatGPT, and the variety of ideas it was able to come up with was so impressive for such a specific prompt. Another hack that has really worked for us is being able to weave in morals or values about things we are dealing with. So, I created stories about kindness and sharing when they were in their mind phase.
That's a really good one. Another thing I really like is how ChatGPT can modulate languages. We often ask it to narrate stories in a mix of Hindi and English, which it does really well.
Oh yeah, I was amazed by how some of these tools can converse so well in Marathi.
Right. In fact, for storytelling, I would say we exclusively use the voice mode because I'm able to include my kid in the process while this tool is narrating in English. And my kid can also talk to this person, ChatGPT, in the language she's familiar with.
Nice. Yeah, we also used voice mode a lot in the beginning. But once the novelty wore off, we realized it isn't really effective for our family for storytelling. And I think that's because my kids are a little bit older than yours.
Right.
So they really like to interrupt and ask questions when listening to a story. No, at that point, voice mode just abandons the story if we interrupt. There's no good way to pause. This became really frustrating for my kids very quickly. But voice mode aside, we did enjoy the co-creation process and iterating on these stories, especially with my first grader.
And I'm sure you needed that when kids were home for spring break.
Yeah.
But man, co-creation is so much effort, and that's where point 2 on our checklist, the cost of using the tool, comes in. And Gen AI tools lose the game for me for storytelling due to the effort required. First, you have to be really specific in your prompt. And then the whole iteration process. The first attempt might not work. The story might be too simple or too short, or it does not have a moral. So this back and forth just limits the use to some extent, and ROI becomes low for me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, we have had that experience with too simplistic stories. But I'm actually glad, that it requires all this effort and prompting. For us, that's a feature, not a bug. And this is especially important for my first grader, who's learning story writing in his school right now. I really do not want him to internalize the idea that creativity is like this instantaneous process,
I guess you're touching on the third point on how does this impact kids' development.
Yeah.
Specifically in this case, maybe you're thinking how does it impact their creativity or their ability to persevere?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've done a bit of experimentation with this, and one hack I found worked for us was asking ChatGPT to just create short sections of a story one at a time, rather than asking for a full story all at once. So this makes the process more interactive for the kids. For example, we ask something like ChatGPT write an introduction, and then my kids will develop the story through further iterations about the characters and the plot.
That sounds like one of those build your own adventure books, but on steroids.
Yeah.
Another factor for kids' development is how connected they are to the storyteller through in that whole experience. And here it'll be the parents.
Yeah.
So while ChatGPT's voice mode, like I mentioned before, helps me include my kid in the story creation process, I feel that reading books together at bedtime, snuggled up, is just such a better bonding experience without quote unquote a third person.
Oh yeah, I mean books definitely win for us, especially at bedtime, It's our time to bond and connect. Okay, moving on from impact on development to our fourth point, which is safety. I think this is one where I don't really mind using ChatGPT for creating stories. I mean, yes, the tool is learning a little bit about the kids' interests or maybe, pets at home. But overall, I think it's pretty low risk in terms of the kind of information we end up giving. And since we ask it to create stories for little kids, it automatically means that there's very little risk of seeing any bad content.
So we deduce that ChatGPT is quite effective for simple storytelling or just coming up with a bunch of ideas to kick us off. But the creation effort required is high. And although it's safe to use for this particular use case, it might impact kids' creativity if not used with the hacks that Sanika mentioned.
Yeah. Okay, great. Let's move on to our next use case. Using ChatGPT for our own parenting research. This is where I do see a lot of value. Basically asking those parenting or child development questions that I used to just Google. I mean, even just the fact that I can get a well-structured, summarized answer that I can read without 1,000 cookie pop-up interruptions, that usability improvement alone is reason enough that I prefer ChatGPT.
Man, those cookie pop-ups. I mean, same here. I use ChatGPT for almost all my research related to parenting. One interesting use case has been asking it medical questions. So let's say, uploading an image of a rash on my kid's skin to ChatGPT and asking it, what does it look like? Is it normal? Of course, I wouldn't recommend it for any serious symptoms. For that, go to an expert.
Yeah, true. I also find myself asking ChatGPT all sorts of questions related to my kids. And I found it very effective to get personalized answers that are still rooted in data and broad research with very little effort. But this is one where I feel our fourth point of safety becomes a really big concern. I feel like we're giving it so much information through these questions, and information that's more personalized and sensitive, like medical data.
I think you're right. And maybe it's got to do with the way we ask, right? For example, earlier on in Google, I would just ask what could rashes on a toddler's skin mean.
Yeah.
Now I'm being very specific. My daughter has a rash. Here is an image.
Yeah. So even though Google search has all our search history, ChatGPT might have a lot more personalized data.
I'll tell you what, I was so amazed when I asked ChatGPT, what do you know about me and my family based on our previous interactions? It was able to profile all the people in my family so well. It not only knew our ages or occupation, but also major stuff happening in our life right now because we have asked it questions about that.
Yeah, exactly. This has definitely made me rethink which companies and which tools I trust with my data. Now, I generally do trust most of these bigger companies, but I have become a lot more wary about using LLM based tools from a new company, one that I don't know much about or don't know about the security practices, things like that. So, to conclude, I think this is one use case where each family needs to draw the line on what they trust, how much information they want to provide when they use ChatGPT for their own parenting research.
Right. Moving on to a third use case, explaining stuff to kids.
Yeah.
Now, we might not always know how to explain something to kids. And how do we use ChatGPT to aid us in that?
Yeah, or in my case, my kids have like a million questions every day. So, how do we use ChatGPT to help us answer those? And even before we get into our checklist, I want to say ChatGPT is just a clear winner for us.
100%. For example, the other day we were playing with a ball and I wanted to explain gravity to my toddler. And I found myself reaching for ChatGPT. It really simplified the concept for a 2-year-old. I was able to include my kid in the process, especially in the voice mode, and it gave an almost perfect answer in the first go.
Yeah, I mean, we do use ChatGPT in voice mode for this particular use case almost every day, to answer my kids' questions that otherwise I would have needed to Google. For example, last week we had a long back and forth conversation about supersonic flights.
Wow.
That included analogies, stories, and ChatGPT actually proactively asking my kid, did you get it? Do you want to know more? I love that. So we have found it to be very effective and requires very little effort on my part.
Interesting. But Sanika, what do you think about the impact on kids' development? I do wonder if kids will just start ChatGPTing everything and treating it as the ultimate source of truth. Will they see it as this authority figure and not even question data accuracy or data biases?
Yeah, you raise a really good point. But right now, I think since my kids are quite young, we use ChatGPT together, right? So I can provide more context when needed or if I feel the tool is hallucinating. And their questions are also mostly quite simple, facts, basic stuff. They aren't really asking for complex opinions. But when we consider the broad use case of kids learning using Gen AI tool, I feel there are a lot of other nuances to consider. For example, how does it impact their attention span or the depth of understanding in a topic? We will cover all of this in a future episode. But overall, using ChatGPT for explaining stuff to kids is a winning use case, especially for a family with young kids.
I agree. That wraps up our episode on Gen AI as a parenting aid. It was so much fun talking to you about this, and I'm so pumped for what's about to come and how parenting evolves with AI's evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for listening. Stay tuned for more in our AI series and do let us know how you use ChatGPT today. Bye.